So it's one of the major players in insurance sector in US, and the product which I worked on was now it's called Claim Management System. Initially it was called IEP and DP. DP is Decision Point. So we basically made claims and we dealt with human losses. There was one section of our team which dealt with car losses and the other dealt with human losses. So in US basically the states are divided in two parts. There are one fee schedule states, there are UCR states. So every state has their own law of how they're judging which all injuries happen and what all is the amount that has to be given to them. So as per that we made two softwares. Decision Point was it was a web application, and IEP, the one which I worked on, was a Windows application. And I initially started off as a developer in VB, which gradually then I moved into QA, then back forth into development, and then again into QA. So it's kind of a messy thing. For the first 2 years I was both in dev and QA, and then when the actual shift happened was that I was called for an on-site project. That was an integration project. Why? Because Mitchell was shifting the software technology. I don't know how many software engineers are there, from VB.NET to C#. So for that I was called there because the entire team in US had left. So I was leading a team of 11 players there. All of them were, just one was American, rest of them were from different parts, so that was a good experience. We were actually called the integration team, but they used to make fun of us. They were calling us the immigration team just because there were 11 players from different countries. So once that happened, when I came back, we started following an agile methodology. Now I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but in that there are no team leads, project manager, nothing like that. There's a product owner who owns the product, who knows what all is happening in the entire software, and then he has some sprint meetings. Every sprint is for 2 weeks. You decide what work you have to do, how much you have to develop, how much will be tested. All of that is decided, and then product owner gives some particular weightage to that, and the team members have to work on that. Now, in that particular part, the QA, the testers, they also had to do development. We had some workshops going on for 6 months for them, and the developers also had to do testing. So the roles were swapped. So that's why we kept going back and forth. So I was made the product owner for that, and I remained the product owner for 2 years till the time I got out of this. So my major role was actually to interact with the clients of Mitchell, and they had all the major clients there. I mean, State Farm, Travelers, Progressive. The other day I was talking with Dinesh about this. They are some of the major insurance players in US. So these were the clients who used to take our software, and then as per whichever state they are implementing it, the major users of these softwares were providers. They call providers in US. It could be hospitals or private firms. So whenever some injury happens, then there is a fixed value that is assigned that, for example, if there's 20% handwork, then that only $200 or $30 or $250 will be charged. And if a provider is charging more, then the rest will, how the rest of the money will be paid, or can he charge more or can he not charge more. This is what the basic software did. So, and the last 2 years I was basically, when I was a product owner, I was basically dealing with those players, now, State Farm and all, and actually helping them to customize their product as per their requirements. So that was my job. That is the boring part, seriously. I didn't like doing it, to be frank, 4 years. What I really liked was what we did. We started off in 2009. That's the second thing which I did. Didn't get any money out of it. We started a football website. I think most of you know about that. I've spoken to almost everyone because I'm really passionate about it. And so there were a group of friends, about 18 of us. We got together in November 2009. And we decided that let's do something. I mean, most of us were either in the basketball team or in the college football team or something or the other. So we decided to work on a website, a model of a website, keeping 2010 Football World Cup in mind, and keeping that in mind that there are not many Indian websites which focus on Indian football. So I was heading the Italian and Indian football section there. And there were about, when I left, there were about 20 people below me in that. And in March 2010, 1st of March, we launched the website. So from naming the website till deciding what all content will go there, recruiting other writers, editing articles, marketing, promoting, whatever marketing I've done through that. And most of it has been digital marketing. It accounts for AdWords, Google AdWords, people looking into that. Then CPC, CPV, that's cost per click, cost per visit. That's how Facebook operates. So we were looking into that. And then promoting, I mean, we were really short of cash because we've till date invested 1 lakh in it. And right now the website is valued from different sources, somewhere around 25,000 to 75,000 USD. I'm showing Mayank one of the sites priced at about 32,000, and some of the sites have valued it at 75,000. So starting making an initial investment of about 1 lakh, that is a lot of return. So there was just 2 guys who invested money into that. So, and how we promoted that was through social media basically, and getting in touch with player agents, with players themselves, and Twitter was one of the major sources. We got hold of some of the major writers in European football. There's one guy by the name of Jonathan Wilson, if you follow football. He is probably the Bible of Eastern European football. He wrote a book in 2009, Inverting the Pyramid. That was voted the best book on football in that year. So he writes a monthly article for us. Then we got in touch with some of the player agents. We got interviews. I personally took interviews. I was doing commentary of the I-League matches. So all my weekends were pretty much screwed up because I was not going out. I was doing the commentary of matches in the evening, commentary of Italian matches in the night. And every day I used to stay back from in office from 6 till 11, writing articles, editing articles. That was my job there. And promotion-wise, what really helped us was the social media was the main aim. We didn't advertise anything. And right now, FICCI actually held a conference in 2013. It's called FICCI Gold 2013. And they have valued us as the biggest, actually the best Indian football website which has come up in India, and which is really good for us. I mean, I'm really proud of that. And the other promotion which we did was we targeted some of the major players like BBC and all. I wrote an article on superstition in football in 2011. And during the Euro of 2012, I got a mail from the World Today, that's a radio of BBC, one of the radios. And they read that article and they approached me, and I did a discussion on that on BBC radio at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, and the next day, there were about 10 to 20,000 hits on that article, which was of 2011. We started off as a website which had about 300 hits per day, and currently we're getting somewhere around 40 to 50,000 hits per day, which is massive. So promoting the website, actually making people to believe that it's not a blog, it's actually a website, that took a lot of pain. But that was my job, and in the later part I was not writing or editing much, I was pretty much promoting, getting interacting with people, networking. So that's something which I learned from marketing out of that. Otherwise, software engineering was really a boring job which I did for 4 years. So that's pretty much about it. Any questions?
So you spoke a lot about that website part of that. So when you wanted to understand what's a business model around that. I mean, is there a revenue generating? At the end of the day, you are saying it is valued at some.
It is actually, initially we did not think of it from money generating kind of a business. We just wanted, we were really bored of our jobs, all 18 of us actually as software engineers. And then it actually gave us a couple of, what value we got out of this was what I'm going to tell you about, not the website thing. I didn't really much understand about that. Because we tried for AdWords, but what happens is that you need to have a certain amount of bounce rate and a certain amount of visitors every day on a website, and they monitor you for about 3 to 6 months, I think. Then they give you AdWords. That's the only way from where we are getting money. And we got the first AdWords in July last year. And last time I spoke to the IT guy in our team, we did break even in about December. So it took us about 6 weeks to recover 1 lakh. And there was no such model as a money-making model behind that. Now we're thinking about it, getting in association with some of the magazines. I've written for some of the magazines as well. 90 Minutes is one of them. That's the only football magazine in India which is owned by Indians. So now we are sponsoring some of the corporate events. We have held a couple of corporate events, and we get money out of that. Out of the website, it's not getting that much amount of money. We're not getting much money from. But evaluation, how it is, I'm quite frankly, I really don't know much about it. But what I was being told, that even FICCI said that website is valued somewhere around 30,000 USD right now. So how it happens, I don't know. But how we're generating money is only through AdWords.
How the valuation happens is
No, there was no money making model. No, there was not.
How do you see our title prices from either as a big website or it's being sold to some very for $100
No, we're not planning to sell it for sure. What we are actually thinking of is getting association with some of the football clubs in India. We are already in touch with some of the major football clubs, Demko, Air India to start off with, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan. I mean, their managers are, they know about us. They have tweeted, they've written about our website. We have interviewed their players. And we know quite a few player management associations, Libero Sports for one, iOS Sports is another one. That's actually one of the co-founders, Karan. He left his job at Infosys when he was getting somewhere around, I think 40K, and then he joined this iOS just because of his passion of sports. So that is the value which we are getting. We ventured into something which we never really thought. We never thought it would be that big, and it's actually picking up. Now we're thinking of merchandising, getting some merchandising, some clubs with some international clubs, Indian clubs. Quite often we used to talk among ourselves in the mail chain which happened that this is not the website we signed up for because it really became too big. I mean, at one time I was writing one article a week, and at probably 2 years into the Hot Tackle, I was probably writing 4 to 7 articles per week and editing about the same amount of articles every day. So that it has grown up big. I mean, right now we are pretty much focusing on writing, but yes, we are thinking of getting into associations with clubs and to merchandise. So that is what we're thinking of.
What is I have read a lot of articles on that. I find it decent quality of it. What I want to know is what is the source of your information for, I mean, what do you use? I mean, it cannot be direct information exactly, but how do you source the information regarding it?
It's just out of the knowledge of the game, man. I mean, if you follow the game for about many of our players are actually aged 40, 45. They're from Europe. They have that game in their blood since they were born. I mean, the guy I'm telling, there's a girl, Mina Rizzuti, who writes about Italian football. She's written for us. I mean, and these guys actually write for sources like Guardian. I mean, Guardian is like, there's nothing beyond Guardian when it comes to sports journalism. So they've written for them, they write articles for us. Plus, we recruit, the way we recruit people, I mean, there's a Juventus guy, Somnath. I'm sorry if anybody is not interested in it, but simply ask. So, back in the time of Orkut, there was a community there that was called Champions League Community. It had the most number of members there. There were about 7 lakh members in that community. And it was a global community, it had just 7 moderators. And those 7 moderators are actually looked upon and they are worshipped actually. And this guy, Somnath, he's a Mohan Bagan guy. He's a part of their club. And then the East Bengal guy, there's Dave from Infosys. His dad was a member of East Bengal team, I think in 60s or something. So they have this in their blood. And then when we recruited them, I mean, I got hold of Somnath. And now he writes for us, for Juventus, and as well as Mohan Bagan. So these guys have been following football for about 25, 30 years. So the source is pretty much themselves and their own knowledge, and it's very authentic. I mean, plagiarism is one thing which is really goes haywire, and that's why I pretty much hate websites like Goal.com, because my first article, which I wrote on 1st of March on history of Italian football, AC Milan actually, that was copy-pasted by Goal, and it was presented as their own article. Now, we were on the verge of suing Goal.com, and then they had to remove the article in about the space of 30 minutes, because we sent about 30 to 40 emails to them telling them that we are going to take action against you if you don't do that. It has happened a number of times. It has happened many Serbian websites, surprisingly, I don't know why. They've copied our articles in their own language, and then we had to talk with the legal departments to get that off if they don't listen to us. Many times that happens. So plagiarism is one thing which we have to take care of, but as long as our source is authentic and we make sure that the article is not copy-pasted, it's our knowledge. I mean, I spent many hours watching videos of matches which were played in 60s, 70s, downloading the matches and then analyzing the matches and then writing an article. So at times it takes about 10 to 15 days to analyze a match, to find, first of all, a video of that match which took place in 60s, 70s, before that matter 50s, and then analyzing that matches, discussing with other team members for about 10 days, and then finally coming up with the first draft in 15 days. That time it takes that much amount of time. But that's why I stayed back in my office 5 hours every day, 6 to 11 I was working on the Hot Tackle. That's how it goes.